Good morning. My name is Srishti Dinesh Chugandla, and I'm going to be presenting my thesis titled River as a Catalyst for Reimagining the Relationship of People and Public Spaces, a case of River Sabarmati. The topic of research was water's edge conditions in major metropolitan cities in India. The Sabarmati riverfront, a recently redeveloped river's edge to enhance the public experience in order to give the river back to the city. The redevelopment project of Sabarmati was initiated in 1999 when ecological corridor was proposed by architect Bernard Cohn in order to retain the ecological belt at the center of the city and also not to disrupt the existing communities settled along the river's edge. With growth in industrialization and urbanization, the community settlements along the river's edge increased in Ahmedabad, thus leading to its depletion as seen in this diagram. In order to bring the public closer to the river's edge and create a riverfront module, public spaces were introduced along the stretch of 11 kilometers on either side of the river's edge. In doing so, the cross section of the river was shortened from 380 meters to 275 meters, and a concrete embankment was created to hold the water that was redirected from the Tharoi and Narmada Canal on the northern face of the city's river. In order to study the effects of the development on the existing thriving public spaces along the riverfront, four sites were identified that interacted directly with the river's edge before its development, namely the Gandhi Ashram, the Mirabai Garden and Sanskar Kendra on the western edge of the city and the Ravivari Market on the eastern. The sites were classified into types of public spaces they incorporated, namely the Gandhi Ashram as the symbolic public space, Mirabai as the functionalist, Ravivari as cultural, Sanskar and Tagore Hall complex as the performative spaces. The site study was divided into four parts, namely the footfall study of site, cross-sectional study of the activities along the river's edge, site interviews of visitors, and a SWOT analysis based on the above readings. This exercise led to the site of intervention to be Ravivari Market that was later incorporated as a part of the redevelopment proposal by the SRFDC after protests by the Ravivari Gujri Association, as the original proposal took away parts of their land where the market used to take place under the Ellis Bridge since it was established by Ahmed Shah in the 1400s. The Ravivari lies sandwiched between the elevated riverfront road and the Old City Hall. The riverfront road lies at a height of 4 meters above the market road, which is at the city level. The lower walkway or the lower promenade sits at 7 meters below the riverfront road. The Ravivari lies between the Ellis Bridge and the Sardar Bridge. The lower promenade acts as a flooding vessel in case of water level rise when the Tharoi Dam is opened once a year and during monsoons, when the water level rises significantly to a strikingly 8-meter level height. In such a scenario, the lower promenade remains inaccessible for public use. The neighboring complexes along the old wall include the Gaikwad Haveli police station and housing quarters, religious temples, government offices, and cooperative societies, and slum settlements along the southern edge. The main points of vehicular access are from the foot of the Ellis Bridge in the north and the riverfront road that allows vehicles to enter the market coming from Jamaldura. The Raighat Darwaza also used to allow vehicular and pedestrian entry coming from the old city, but the Darwaza has been shut for use in recent times owing to its dilapidated condition. The market road allows tempos, hath garis, and rickshaws to their loading and unloading sites throughout the market complex. Ahmedabad experiences an extreme type of climate. During summers, the maximum temperature is 42 degrees centigrade, and during winters, the temperature can fall up to 10 degrees. The design development process included doing a wider range of communities along the river's edge. The programs were divided into public, private, semi-public, and corridor spaces, where the more public programs were placed towards the market road facing the riverfront, and the semi-private and private programs sit towards the old city wall, divided by a central connection as a series of corridors. The two main principles followed while designing were to revive the connection of the market to the River Sabarmati and to activate the inactive market space during the rest of the week to facilitate active pedestrian connection to the riverfront. Program strategy: tourism. To cater to the visitors that visit the Gujari market and its heritage, the market pavilion houses a visitors center that enhances the tourism along the riverfront. The center includes an information center which provides travel guidance and helps booking tours and travel support to the visitors of not only the riverfront but also the Old World City and the rest of Ahmedabad. The center hosts exhibitions that boost the art culture of Ahmedabad and also provides a platform to exhibit artists' artworks. The Karnavati Art Gallery at the Pikabai Garden, in collaboration with the Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation, invites artists to perform and hold workshops at the center. The market and the Ravivari Association. The market, that is considered to be one of the oldest markets in Ahmedabad, started by Ahmed Shah himself in the 15th century, used to take place weekly along the River Sabarmati. The aim of the redesigning of the market was to revive this informal heritage and let it take shape along the river while redefining its relationship to the riverfront that was developed recently. In order to attract the immediate communities and settlements towards the riverfront to interact with the river's edge and reactivate the presently inactive market space, provisions for allowing children and families towards the market have been introduced. The settlements along the Jamalpura and the Gaikwad Haveli Old Wall have children that play along the parking spaces and the riverfront road, where they also happen to currently reside. The design provides for teaching and daycare facilities for these kids who cannot afford going to school. Some of the programs for vocational training include a teacher's training program, woodworks and carpentry workshop, computer training program, and language training. These programs mostly cater to attracting the youth in the neighborhood to enhance their skills. The Water Resource Management Center for Development. Its mission is to stimulate and facilitate work related to water bodies and management and their development in parts of Ahmedabad through private and public partnerships while evolving into an institution that works on research-based riverfront development programs. It organizes activities like cleaning drives, awareness campaigns. It brings people together who are willing to fund illegally plant trees and increase the green belt along the river's edge, thus promoting afforestation. Hold lectures and street shows plays to advertise the ill effects of poor river's edge development through creating embankments and allowing untreated sewage water into the river, and also publishing papers and research material for other such reverse edges in India that are to undergo heavy concretization and embankment in the name of development and sanitization. The aim of the programs was to attract people from not only the adjacent communities but also from different income groups of the city. Based on these factors, the programs derived for creating a more public-friendly riverfront institutions are as seen in the diagram. Loading and unloading points, Ravivari Market Broadstance, Visitors Center, Artist Collaborative, a Tourist Guidance Center, Ravivari Gujari Association Headquarters, Center for Water Resource Management and Development, a Vocational Training Center, Ravivari Market South Stills, Loading and Unloading Point, and Parking Space. The landscape adjacent to the riverfront includes a catchment park, an event space, and a bicycle park with bicycle pathways. Seen here is the master planning strategy for the site. The design intervention can be divided into three parts, namely the market strategy, the landscape strategy, and the built form strategy. Starting with the landscape strategy, the purpose of the landscaping, as explained earlier, was to reintroduce an ecological belt along the river's edge for a more shaded and natural arena for various public activities like bicycle riding, event spaces, running tracks, plantation drives, as a part of the initiative for the functions of the Center for Water Management and Resource Development. The landscape sits between the lower promenade and the market road. The foot flow of the public to the landscape and the lower promenade takes place through three subways that take us to the 4-meter level mark where one can access the catchment park and the bicycle paths. Seen in these sections are the activities that take place at different cross sections along the riverfront. The form of the landscape was achieved by inverting the existing diaphragm wall inwards and introducing a retention wall to hold the bicycle pathways and also to prevent soil erosion during water level rise. During monsoons and in case of flooding when the Dharoi dams are open, the river tends to flood and rise to fill up the lower promenade as seen earlier. The retention wall introduced allows for this overflow to be held temporarily in the catchment park while the water level subsides. Seen here is the ground floor level plan of the market strategy. This includes a vehicular entry, a loading-unloading zone, selling spaces marked by raised platforms of 500 mm above the plinth level, connected to a toilet block with a water dispenser system. At the first floor level, the market is again defined by selling spaces of 500 mm raised platforms for selling. The ground level plan at 0.45 meter level for the building strategy includes canteen, visitor center, waiting rooms, artist corner, artist studio, admin, material storages for artist studios, pedestrian entries, toilet block, staircase blocks, registration offices for the Ravivari market, the chairperson's office of the Ravivari market, finance cell, information center and grievances cell for the Center of Water Resource Management, a mess, selling stills, kitchen, and 2 daycare studios. At the first floor level, the programs include orientation center, bookshop, artist studio, meeting room, tourist guidance center, admin offices, discussion room, archive, artist exhibition space, open public workshop space, students common area, computer training program studio, carpentry workshop studio, teacher training workshop, and language training workshops. At the second floor level, the programs include viewing galleries, terrace decks, permanent exhibition halls 1 and 2 for the Ravivari Market Museum. A long section cut through the 3 built forms on site shows market activities at loading-unloading points and selling spaces at both levels in the North and South Street markets. The built form shows a staircase at visitor center leading to the orientation room and terrace deck, a balcony overlooking the pedestrian back entry to the courtyards, and a double-heighted public workshop space and entry to the carpentry workshops. Section 2, showing market activities at the ground level stills between the Water Resource Management Center and the Tourist Guidance Center. Section 3, showing Subway 2 connecting the public programs along the market route to the greenscape along the lower riverfront walkway. Section also shows admissions reception to the visitors center at the ground level at the entry to the students' common area on the first floor level. Section 4 shows viewing gallery between the visitors center, orientation room, and the tourist guidance center at the first floor level. This section also shows entry from the North Stills Market and the entry to the Artist Collaborative of the ground floor level and the Ravivari Museum at the second floor level. The materials used were brick, RCC, wood, and steel. Cavity walls were used in order to create insulation during extreme harsh summer climate of Ahmedabad. Wooden fins are used for sun shading the facades and the connectors, with pockets of viewing decks overlooking the riverfront. The market roof was designed to create a play of light and air in the selling spaces while not completely enclosing them and retaining the openness of the market. The structure is supported by MS columns, 100 mm dia verticals and 75 mm dia branches. These comprise three posts, which above a height of 3 meters branch into painted steel tubular biarticulated links. Each post system is triangulated to give transversal strength, and each gives 6 points of support to the roof. Beneath this cover is a screen made of a dense grid of thick planks of 50 by 75 mm timber. The screen filters direct sunlight and creates a play of light and reflection on the wood, highlighting the roof line. At the landscape level, a retention wall lined by modular concrete blocks and a self-filling floodgate system is installed at the entries to the subways to block the flood water from entering the subways and onto the streets. Views showing entry to visitor center, entry to viewing deck overlooking the riverfront, view of back entry from North Stills to Ravivari Market, pedestrian back entry, public workshop space, and selling of North Stills from Visitors Center viewing gallery. The design analysis included study of hardscape on site, softscape cover, trees to be planted along the riverfront, lining the pathways and catchment areas, are selected keeping in mind the dry and humid climate of Ahmedabad. Such trees require less moisture and can grow enough to provide shade on hot and dry days. Site level vehicular access. Pedestrian movement at various pedestrian entries along the site. Pedestrian movement at the landscape at riverfront level. Freshwater supply to site calculation of domestic and freshwater supply. Rainwater harvesting calculations. Wastewater drainage layout on site. Wastewater is carried in 100 mm dia PVC downlink pipes into inspection chambers individually. From here, the sludge is carried to disconnecting chambers at the shortest distance from it before it merges into the sewage line at city level. In Ahmedabad, the Pirana treatment plant overlooks the most of sewage treatment of the city. Thank you.